Amy Irving has lived her life at the intersection of theater royalty, Hollywood prestige, and personal independence. Known for her haunting beauty, emotional depth, and commitment to the craft, Irving has always balanced fame with integrity, from her breakout role in Carrie to her acclaimed Broadway performances in independent films. She built a career that defied easy categorization. This Then versus Now biography traces Amy Irving's journey through decades of creative exploration, personal reinvention, and artistic courage. Amy Davis Irving was born on September 10, 1953, in Palo Alto, California, into a family steeped in the performing arts. Her father, Jules Irving, was a legendary theater director and producer, and her mother, Priscilla Pointer, was an actress who would later appear in several films with Amy. Raised in San Francisco and New York, Amy grew up surrounded by actors, playwrights, and stage productions. It was inevitable that she'd step onto the boards herself. She trained at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco and later at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, Lambda, honing a style rooted in classical rigor and emotional depth. Amy made her film debut in The Panic in Needle Park, 1971, though her big break came with Brian De Palma's 1976 horror classic Carrie, playing Sue Snell, the guilt-ridden teen who sets the story in motion. Amy brought a grounded sensitivity to the chaotic world of telekinetic revenge. The success of Carrie made her a sought-after actress for emotionally driven roles. She reunited with De Palma in The Fury, 1978, delivering another chilling performance. Her early screen work showcased a mature talent willing to take on complex, challenging roles rather than fall into typical leading lady clichés. The Ijo Balings were a defining decade for Amy. She starred opposite Richard Dreyfuss in The Competition, 1980, playing a gifted pianist with charm and intensity. In 1983, she received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Yentl, directed by and co-starring Barbra Streisand. But while she was gaining film acclaim, Amy never left the stage. She performed in off-Broadway and Broadway productions, maintaining a link to her theatrical roots. Her performances in Amadeus, The Road to Mecca, and Broken Glass earned critical praise and solidified her reputation as a formidable stage actress. Her on-screen roles spanned from thrillers Honeysuckle Rose, Mickey and Maude, to dramas Crossing Delancey, where her performance as a bookish New Yorker in A Romantic Pickle won hearts and remains one of her most beloved roles. Amy's personal life became a subject of public fascination when she married director Steven Spielberg in 1985. The marriage, though filled with glamour and public appearances, ended in divorce in 1989. Their son Max Spielberg became a symbol of their brief union, though the divorce was highly publicized. Amy handled it with dignity and rarely used her relationship for publicity. The divorce settlement reportedly awarded her a significant sum due to a handwritten prenup being deemed invalid, but rather than cash in on the notoriety, Amy retreated to focus on her own identity and career. Then, Amy Irving was a rising star in 1970s Hollywood, young, intelligent, and beautiful, with both mainstream success and critical credibility. With a lineage tied to the theater and a film presence that turned heads, she balanced fame and craft effortlessly. Now, Amy is a respected artist who continues to work in film and theater, often choosing roles that speak to her inner life rather than industry trends. She is known for her selectivity and her refusal to conform to Hollywood's expectations. Even in her 60s and 70s, she has continued to command attention, playing layered, fascinating women in independent films and stage revivals. Her recent work in Unsane 2018 by Steven Soderbergh marked a return to psychological intensity, while her stage work continued in productions like Three Tall Women and The Glass Menagerie, where she earned praise for her raw emotional expression. Amy has long protected her privacy, especially as a mother. She raised her son, Max, largely out of the spotlight, focusing on stability and independence. Her approach to parenting reflected the values instilled in her own upbringing: creativity, integrity, and humility. In 1996, she married Brazilian director Bruno Barreto, with whom she collaborated on several projects. They divorced in 2005, but Amy has maintained friendships and collaborations across continents. Her maturity as a performer has only deepened her impact. She's found a second wind in smaller roles that offer big emotional payoffs and is often praised for stealing scenes even in brief appearances throughout her career. Amy has returned again and again to the stage, where her artistry shines brightest. Her performances in Arthur Miller's Broken Glass and Albie's Three Tall Women revealed a performer who is both fearless and deeply human. She has worked at prestigious theaters, such as the Roundabout Theatre Company and Second Stage, often drawing sold-out crowds and rave reviews. Her return to Chekhov and Ibsen has been welcomed by critics who view her as one of the most authentic and underappreciated talents of her generation. Amy Irving is not one for social media, red carpet, antics, or personal branding. Her focus has always been on the work, the emotional truth of a scene. the authenticity of a character, and the integrity of the artist. While this may have kept her away from constant headlines, it's earned her deep respect among peers and true fans of cinema and theater. She's also been a mentor to younger actresses, quietly offering support and guidance. Her example shows that a career doesn't have to be loud to be meaningful. Amy's success is rooted in her belief that every role matters, whether in a box office hit or a downtown theater. Amy Irving's legacy is one of quiet rebellion. She refused to be typecast, refused to be defined by the men in her life, and refused to play by Hollywood's harsh rules. Instead, she carved a niche where art mattered more than image. She is admired by directors for her depth, adored by fans for her vulnerability, and remembered as a timeless presence who brought truth to every performance. Films like Carrie, Yentl, and Crossing Delancey continued to resonate because of her nuanced portrayals. In a world of oversharing and overexposure, Amy Irving has stayed elegant, honest, and intentional. Her influence lives on in actresses who now demand multifaceted roles and who aren't afraid to walk their own path. Now in her 70s, Amy Irving continues to act and contribute to the arts. She has explored music, released recordings of American standards, and worked behind the scenes to develop independent projects. Her voice, both literal and metaphorical, remains strong. She has expressed interest in writing memoirs, not for sensationalism, but as a reflection on a life lived with honesty. Her fans continue to hope for more appearances, whether on stage, screen, or even in an interview. Any chance to hear from this soft-spoken giant of the arts. Amy Irving's journey is one of quiet excellence. From her early days as a fresh-faced actress in Carrie to her award-nominated turns on stage and screen, she has never compromised her integrity. She's navigated fame with dignity, motherhood with purpose, and performance with passion. A consummate artist, Amy has left a permanent mark on every role she's touched, and she did it her way. Subscribe for more timeless then versus now stories of iconic actors and actresses who changed the face of entertainment.